What's good? What's good? Your boy is back. I know you probably missed me. Yesterday I couldn't get on because the internet in the whole neighborhood was gone. So AT&T, y'all got to do better. Y'all got to do better. So we got something to jump in today. We ain't gonna talk about much, but we talking about something. Matter of fact, before I ain't even gonna bring it up, I'm gonna let y'all see it. Jake versus Tank. Jake versus Tank. Many people ain't feeling it. And it's funny because most people be getting on Jake Paul because they just don't like him and Logan. But this time, they're getting on Tank because Tank been running away from fights we want to see forever. Him and Haney, him and Shakur. He ain't trying to run it back with Roach after Roach put them paws on. And now you taking the Jake fight. Tank is all but retired. It is what it is. The problem with boxing now is that we don't get the fights that we want to see. We're getting better fights now, right? We're getting the Canelo and the Crawford because of Turkey, and he's putting that money up out there out of Saudi. But until then, we weren't getting nothing close to that. And then you got a guy like Tank who has guys that he could fight. Haney, you could go Shakur that everybody wants to see. We all want to see that Roach rematch. Obviously, you would even have a Ryan rematch. But no, we get Jake versus Tank in an exhibition fight. Depending, I don't know what they put the clause on. So it could be as close as 50 pounds if Tank comes in at 150, even though he's a small guy. But sometimes he'd be out of shape. So we know that. And then Jake could be about 200, 210. So it could be as close as 50 up to dang 80 pounds, depending on how big Jake want to be and what the rules are. It's on Netflix. It's on a Friday. So I'm glad at least that it's on Netflix. And we ain't got to worry about, buying nothing. I would have streamed it. But the problem with the streaming is so many people are still going to watch it. So while y'all hating and mad, we're still going to watch it. So that's why these fights like this can happen. But since I ain't got to stream it, I won't have to worry about all that buffer and everything. But I don't even get mad at Jake. Jake is running it up, bro. He's doing what he needs to do. He's been an entertainer, a YouTuber, a Disney star, social media star, all that. And he has found the infinite money glitch of how to run it up in boxing. Now, with that being said, a lot of people think his fights are fake. I really don't think they're fake or rigged, to be honest. Look who he's fighting. He's fighting guys over the hill. Y'all thought a 50-something-year-old, 58-year-old Mike Tyson still had it. Just because y'all watched some 30-second training clips that made y'all believe that at 58 he was going to go in that ring and really get busy. Well, he was biting his glove because he was so mad and he could have held back. No, your body don't react the same, bro. It is what it is. There's a thing called Father Time. And only to this day, I've only seen one man currently not lose to it yet. It's getting close. But Braun, he the only one still fighting. Brady had to leave. Floyd had to leave, and Floyd left on top. But he knew if you fight too much longer, bro, it is what it is. Usain Bolt had to get out of there, right? But Jake, he just understands, like, I'm fighting older guys. I'm fighting guys like UFC guys that don't understand boxing, hand-to-hand combat like that. They're doing, elbows, kicking, grappling, ground and pound. So that's not their number one discipline. He's a smart guy. Like, if it was literally rigged, he would have rigged it with Tommy Fury. He could have. All those other guys were legends. Tommy gets laughed at because he's Tyson Fury's younger brother. Don't got much going for himself. He's a little reality star. The money he would have gave him would have been worth more than what he was giving some of these other guys that got it. So if he was going to rig them, he would have rigged them all, and he wouldn't have took an L. He would still be undefeated. Now, like I said, I'm not saying he ain't setting it up for himself, but that is what it is. This one's exhibition. Well, they're saying it's exhibition. It's exhibition. Why it's not a real fight? Because nobody's going to sanction it. You can't even do a catch weight. If you don't know what a catch weight is, that's somebody, let's say, at 147 fighting somebody at 154, where you can kind of go in the middle of it, right? Neither one of you can't be like, well, Jake, you want 180, and then Tank, you come up to 180. They're so far in between that it's just going to be is what it is. So they got to do this as an exhibition, but they don't matter because they're about to get that money on. They're there for the money. Jake's running it up with the money. Tank wants another big payday. His biggest payday was Ryan Garcia by far. This is going to outdo those numbers easily. Netflix coming with the bat. They keep doing these because they're making them money. Netflix ain't going to keep doing these Jake Paul live events if they're not making money. And therefore, Jake and Tank about to get that bread going. Now, Tank, like I said, you had your back and forth with Mayweather. We thought you was gonna be one of those ones. Are you exciting? Yes, but you didn't give us the fights we wanted to see. Look at Tank, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, Mike Tyson more than looking at Jake. He's putting the bag in front of him, dangling that carrot in front of him, and guess what? They're taking it. So while y'all are always, Jake's doing this, Jake's doing that, he can only fight the guys that are accepting these bags. He done figured it out. If you was in Jake Paul's position too, you would do it too. So while all y'all hating, if you could go make $100 million, shoot dang near every year boxing from his events and the ones he's putting on with Amanda Serrano, you would do it too. I think we got to start looking at the boxers. Y'all got to fight the guys we want to see. Y'all got to sit there and get in that ring and stop being scared to risk that O. The O has to go. If Floyd made it through and Floyd did it his way, but now since he made the 50-0 in the green print, right? It ain't the blueprint, the green print, that money on, which that's why Jake is following. That's why Tank is taking this fight. Boys don't want to risk that L. Soon as boys lose, even like Spence, he lose one fight, he out of there. Even though we know he was banged up and beat up before that, but boys don't know how to handle that L. And sometimes they ain't never seen from again. But yeah, that's what I wanted to come on here and say, man, is while we arguing over Jake and Tank and what's going on, they're playing the game. Y'all all go to college to do what? Make the most money possible. Y'all all start your business to do what? Make the most money possible. Jake's business is the fight business, the YouTube business, social media business, the branding business. And he done built it all the way up. Here's what it is. And other guys are seeing they can cash in and get that money. He turned Amanda Serrano, one of the most decorated women fighters, into a multi-millionaire. So from the time she had like 35 fights before Jake, 40 fights before Jake, she probably had earned between them 40 fights, $500,000, if that. The 5 or so fights with Jake, especially the last 3 with Katie Taylor, she probably earned well over $30 million. Jake's done good. All the UFC fighters that came over there with him, they made the most money with Jake. Right? All the boxers that came over on them cards made the most money with Jake. He's fighting for fighters' benefits and all that. So even the things that you might not like, the things he's doing behind the scenes and that he talks about with his charity and the donations and just where he's trying to take boxing, that's why he had such a big back and forth with Dana White and UFC. He's done a lot of great for the sport, but he's also made, a circus of it as well. But that's because a lot of guys and women don't really understand boxing. The guys that Jake actually fought, even though they were over the hill, were a lot more decorated and a lot more dangerous, even at their older age, than most of your favorite fighters fight 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You go look at a Floyd Mayweather. Go look at his 13th fight. I believe the guy was like 1-11. You go look at Tank. Go see who he fought in fight 8. Dudes be debuting. You'll see guys. So you telling me a Tyron Woodley isn't as good as a guy that's just in the gym taking a debut fight that literally never had an amateur career? You telling me that Anderson Silva isn't more dangerous than a guy that's 1-15, that some of the greatest like a Mayweather's fighting? That's boxing. Boxing is one of those sports. It's not like college where you have a conference, you go through high school, you go through recruiting, and you can kind of – boxing is where one guy could be a champ and another guy be a champ, and they're not even close to the same levels because of the way you can cherry pick your way to the top. So that's what I tell y'all. Go find your favorite fighters. And Jake's on fight like 12, I think. And go tell me, who were they fighting in fights 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12? Bums. Bums that Jake Paul would mop up. Remember, boxing is a sport where it's very, very easy to go pro. I could go pro tomorrow. Go take a physical, go get at a gym, somebody sign me up, and you can go pro. That's what most of these guys are doing. That's why you see them getting a championship fight, and you be like, whoa, you were 24-0. How'd you look so bad? Because they cherry-picked their way to the top. They had good branding, they had good marketing, they had good management. That's what fighting is. So while y'all mad about Jake, go look at your favorite fighter, go look at his box rec, and I guarantee you'll be like, whoa, I didn't think on fight 14 somebody as good as him would have fought somebody that was 3-38. It happens all the time. Just now it's more publicized because boxing is everywhere. You can go see it on social media. You can see it on pay-per-view. Now you can see it on Netflix. And now you know these guys. But usually y'all don't know these guys until they're champs. And then y'all want to talk about y'all know boxing. Go look at these guys and who they fought coming into their careers and early on in their career. First 10 fights was basically fighting people off the couch just so they could be 10-0 as fast as possible, start moving up, building their brand. And then we're trying to get to a belt, no different than what Jake's doing. He's just he's more well-known. He's doing it with more well-known fighters. And those guys are also obviously older. So then he gets even a bad rep. But once again, don't take my word for it. It's all public knowledge on Box Rec. But yeah, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this Jake versus Tank, man. I'm from boxing, I'm always, but as a businessman, we care about that money. And we did this to, take care of ourselves and our family and our future family. So y'all let me know what y'all think about Jake versus Tank, man.